Crop farmers today often have to use notebooks to plan out different tasks that they have to do for their maintaining their farm, such as planting crops. This requires the cumbersome task of using static pieces of paper as well as not being able to dynamically organize different tasks. Farmers today also have a difficulty tying these tasks to different maps that they might use, such as Google Maps seen here. It is difficult for them to assign tasks to a graphical region of a map to easily associate tasks with different fields on their farm. Our application proposes to fix the first problem by allowing users to dynamically add and view different tasks based on different groupings such as field or the deadlines for the different tasks. For maps, our application will make it easier for farmers to quickly define different fields on their farm using a map, as well as look at the different tasks that are associated with each field. I'm a crop farmer and I'd like to add overlays to a map of my farm so that I can create a special field on the farm. For that field, I'd like to add different tasks to it later, but for now I just like to draw the boundaries of it onto the map. In our first task, the user will be drawing out an outline of the field on a farm using a map, and then add the name of the field as well as the crop being grown in that field. So in the first step, the user will select New Farm. This will bring up a map which they can pan to bring up a GPS map of the area of the map that has their farm on it. After this, they can select Draw Field on the left. This will bring up instructions for how to draw the outline of the field. They can read that and then press OK. This will bring them back to the map screen. The first step is to place their finger to define the first vertex of the boundary of the field. This will place a dot where they have pressed. After they press a second time to denote where the second vertex should be, the application will automatically draw a line between the two dots, thus forming an edge of the boundary of the field. They can then continue this process to draw the outline of the entire boundary of the field. And once they select the original vertex of the field, this will complete the boundary and automatically bring up an information screen, which will allow them to set the different information for the field they've just defined. For now, we're just going to be focusing on the name and crop portion of the field and not the tasks. So the user will click on the blank space next to name and crop, and this will bring up a setup field pop-up, and here they can select the text fields under name and crop to fill in the names, as you can see here. And then after this, they can click and drag the slider at the bottom to change the color that is going to be used for the overlay of the field on the map. After they've selected that, they can hit done, and since we're not doing the tasks, they can hit back, and this will bring up a new updated version of the map with a label of the field which includes both its name and the crop, and this will be colored according to what the user selected. I'm trying to plan what crops I'm going to grow on a specific field on my farm for the next year. And to do this, I'd like to look at both a list of text as well as a map to see what crops have been grown on this field in the past so I can properly rotate my crops. For the second task, the user will start at the map screen, and then they will look at the different crops that were planted for different years in their farm and be able to plan for future years. From the map screen, they can select the Crops Planted button, and this will bring up a list of the different crops planted both for the past and possibly for the future as well as the current year. And for each year, you can see the different fields that were divided up for that year as well as the crops for each field. From here, they can click the View Map button to look up the field configuration for a given year. Here it's 2010, and the fields are labeled with both the name of the field as well as what crop was planted in it. If they click previous, they can bring up a previous year. Here would be 2009, and here the field and crops may be different from the previous year, and they can graphically compare between years. From here they can click back, and this will bring them back to the list view, and then they can, from here if they wish, click add future plan. This will bring up a screen that will allow them to add plans for a future year. The year will be one after the latest year in the previous screen. So if 2010 was the latest year with information, then 2011 would be the default value on this screen. And for the field and crops, these would match the data from that last year. So if 2010 was the last year with data, then for 2011 on this screen, the data for field and crops would match, and the user would be able to change any of these fields if they wish. And after this, they can click done, and it will update the screen that was seen previously with a list of information for each year. I've decided what crop to grow in my field, and now I'd like to add a list of tasks for that field grouped under a certain heading, as well as set deadlines for it so that I can later look back and see which tasks have to be accomplished in the near future. In our third task, the user will add tasks for the field that has already been created. So they can first click on the field anywhere in the overlay, and this will bring up information for the field, including the name and crop, which have already been filled in. As you can see here, the tasks are all blank, so if they click in that blank area, this will bring up a screen to allow them to look at the tasks for the field. Here these are still blank, so they can click add task, and this will allow them to either add a new task from scratch or use a template. Here we'll use the template, and here we can select a set of templates which the user can either add to themselves or just use the default ones. So here we'll select wheat and then select done. Here for wheat we can see all the different tasks that have been defined as tasks for wheat under the template, and you can see them here. Once we select edit, we can change the name of the task if we wish, and we can also add a deadline, and we'll click done. Also, we can click add new to add a new task under wheat, which is a task group, and we can give it a name and a deadline as well. Click done, and we'll bring us back to the previous screen. And after this, we can select back and end.